Well, President Trump greeting him at the White House just moments ago. The two shaking hands, an American flag draped over Fogel's shoulders. Fogel saying to the president, it's hard to articulate how proud he feels. Fogel, who is from Pennsylvania, was imprisoned in Russia for 3.5 years for a 14-year sentence after he was detained for having medically prescribed marijuana. The White House posted a photo of Fogel walking off the plane with the caption, "Promises made, promises kept." The Trump administration negotiated an exchange, though it's unclear what Russia received in return. We also learned another American is coming home tomorrow. It's not known from which country just yet. We'll now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Our coverage continues now on ABC News Live and more tomorrow on Good Morning America. Until then, I'm Linsey Davis. Good night.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. American Marc Fogel now back on U.S. soil. President Trump, you see him there greeting him at the White House just moments ago, the two shaking hands, an American flag draped over Fogel's shoulders. Fogel saying to the president, it's hard to articulate how proud he feels. Fogel, who is from Pennsylvania, was imprisoned in Russia for 3.5 years after he was detained for having medically prescribed marijuana. He had been serving a 14-year sentence. Fogel touched down at Joint Base Andrews a short time ago. The White House posting a photo of Fogel walking off the plane with the caption, "Fogel is back. Promises made, promises kept." The Trump administration negotiated an exchange, though it's unclear this time what Russia received in return. We also learned tonight that another American is coming home tomorrow, but we don't know yet which country the person will be released from. You see them there inside the White House. It sounded like he just said he's the luckiest man on earth. Let's take a listen.
I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes. I am in awe of what they all did. My family has been a force. I think my 95-year-old mother is probably the most dynamic 95-year-old on earth right now. And I am so indebted to so many people. I think I remember a Churchill quote that he said when the RAF was fighting the Luftwaffe, and he said that never have so many owed so much to so few. And I put myself, fortunately and unfortunately, into that category, and I said, never has one owed so much to so many, that this superorganism of people that came to my support and the love that I was given sustained me for 3.5 years in a prison, that had me in hospitals for more than 100 days. I was given more than 400 injections in that time. And knowing I had the support of my fellow Pennsylvanians, my family, my friends, it was so overwhelming that it brought me to my knees and it brought me to tears, but it was my energy, it was my being that kept me going that whole time. And I will forever be indebted to President Trump, to Steve over there. What a dynamic man this guy is.
That's true.
When I met him, the energy, the can-do attitude just exudes from his body. And when he smiled at me and introduced me, and I got the feel for what has happened, you know, it's not just me, it's everybody. And Secretary Rubio, who met my son a while back, I'm a middle-class school teacher who's now in a dream world.
We're going to show you the Lincoln bedroom in a little while. It's a
I
very
haven't-
special place. Appropriate for tonight, I think. Very appropriate.
And thank you all. And I love our country. And I'm so happy to be back here. And I wish I could articulate it better.
You've done beautifully, and he's got a great mother. And when I saw the mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? And I promised. She's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out. And we got him out pretty quickly.
She told me that exact words.
I remember.
And,
She made quite an impression.
and you also did.
Yeah.
And I'm in awe of what you've done and your team.
It's great to have you back.
Oh,
Gonna have a great life. Yes.
Mr. President, did you speak directly to President Putin about
Well, I don't
Mark?
want to say that. I just want to say that I appreciate very much what they did in letting Mark go home. And I appreciate Steve Witkoff, the job he did, and Marco behind the scenes was unbelievable. And so many of these people were unbelievable. They represent him. They're from his area. And we just wanted to get him back home. I had to get him back home because I would have had big trouble with his mother. And we're going to take him for a little tour of the Lincoln bedroom, which nobody gets to see, and it's very special. Do you want to see it?
I would love to. And I also should make mention that President Putin was very generous and statesmanlike in granting me a pardon. I mean,
What were the terms of this deal, Mr. President?
Very fair, very fair, very reasonable, not like deals you've seen over the years. They were very fair. And
What
I
were
think
they?
that's going to lead, and somebody else is being released tomorrow that you will know of. But we wanted to get this done, very important. And Steve wanted to actually fly over and get Mark and get him home properly, because it could be a pretty tough trip.
So is this the beginning of a deal, sir? Is this the start of?
I think there's goodwill in terms of the war. You know, 1.5 million soldiers, young people have been killed.
I've met many of them.
Yeah, and it's a terrible thing going on, so we want to get that done. I think this could be the very important element. You could be a big part of it, actually, because it could be a big, important part of getting the war over with Ukraine. And we appreciate President Putin's, what he did. He was able to pull it off for you, right? He was able to pull it off. We think, and you're here, and you're here, so it was great. We'll tell you a little bit more about it tomorrow, but I think we've made great progress on the war also. Getting the war, I want to get the war ended. That war should not have been. It would have never happened if I was president. It would not have happened, and it did happen, and now you have all blown up cities and dead people. So many dead people. Should have never, ever happened, and you could be a big catalyst for just this evening. It's a very important evening for ending that war, and I think they all want to see it ended.
Does that mean
So
you gave
how does it change
assurances
your,
about
how
Ukraine?
does it change your perspective on Putin and your attitude?
Well, I don't want to get into that. I only can say this. We got a man home whose mother and family wanted him desperately, whose state wanted him. He's become a big symbol. And it's an honor to have played a small role in that. And I want to tell you, these people, they all played a role. And we got him home, and he's healthy. It looks good, actually. To me, you look damn good, I'll tell you that.
I think when expectations are low,
Yeah.
maybe that helps a little bit.
When you go
but,
kaplunk, right?
Can you tell us about the conditions in the prison that you were in, sir?
I think I need a little bit of time to sort of digest all of that. There were times when it was extremely trying. There were times when I could manage it, but I think I need some more time to, process it.
It wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy.
Every second, every minute, every day had a challenge.
But you're in good shape. I mean, compare that to what we saw 2 days ago come home. They were very, very ill. Those people are very ill. They were treated really badly.
Mr. President, your predecessor left you almost $4 billion in unused aid for Ukraine, to Ukraine. Are you going to use those money? Are you going to
Well, we're going to
send
see, but my
weapons to
predecessor
Ukraine?
should have had this gentleman out a long time ago. You know, we did it in 2.5 weeks. He had 4 years to do it. He should have had Mark out a lot earlier. It's a shame. It's a shame.
It was very,
Should have never had the war to start off with. Should have never had, that war would have never happened if I was
What about
president.
the
But he
money?
should have had him back 3.5 years ago. So it was too bad, but he didn't do it, but we did it. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Come on.
Mr. President, are reciprocal tariffs still coming tomorrow, or are you waiting until you need to vote?
We'll see what happens.
Have you spoken with President Xi?
So there you see Marc Fogel, all smiles, draped in that American flag, saying, I am not a hero. President Trump is a hero, going on to say, I'm in awe of what they did. My family has been a force, and going on to mention his 95-year-old mother, set to turn 96 just 1 month from now. I want to bring in our senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang, who joins us from the North Lawn there at the White House. Give us a sense. We haven't really heard exactly how this deal came together. What do we know on that front?
Yeah, Lindsay, well, we just heard that Marc Fogel there, he was overcome with emotion. And in addition to thanking President Trump, he also thanked Steve Witkoff, who is the special envoy to the president. And he played a key role here in negotiating his release. He actually secretly flew to Moscow on a private plane, Lindsay. This was not a government plane. He secretly flew there, played a key role in his release. And this is actually the first time that we know of that a senior U.S. official has been to Russia since the start of the war in Ukraine. Now, President Trump also said that he spoke directly to Putin, but it's unclear exactly when. But the big question here is, what exactly did the U.S. give in return in order for this release to happen? What kind of concessions or promises did the United States make? Now, Trump was asked about that just moments ago, and he didn't give any specifications, but he did say that this deal was fair. Now, Fogel was an American teacher. He was detained in 2021. He was arrested on drug charges, but the U.S. has said for years that he was wrongfully detained for having medically prescribed marijuana. But Russia ended up charging him with large-scale drug smuggling, sentencing him to 14 years in a penal colony. But we do also know that even before Trump came into office, the Biden administration had actually been trying to negotiate his release for some time. They wanted Marc Fogel to be included in that large-scale hostage release from last summer, but when were unable to do so, we know that this administration has made clear that their top priority is releasing the rest of the American citizens detained in Russia. They said that an American will actually be freed tomorrow, but unclear from what country, Lindsay.
All right. And on a larger scale, what could this mean as far as the path to ending the war in Ukraine? We did see Marc Fogel there just praising Putin, saying, you know, that he gave him in part credit for pardoning him.
Well, the White House and the president are saying that this is a good faith effort, that this is a good sign that things are progressing in the right direction when it comes to bringing the war in Ukraine to a close. Now, you'll remember that President Trump campaigned on ending the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. Now, that obviously hasn't happened, but Trump has made clear that he sees good progress. He sees things moving in a positive direction. Now, we also know that Vice President J.D. Vance and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent are planning to meet with Ukraine's president this week. The big question when Trump was inaugurated was how long he was going to continue to send aid to Ukraine for. Well, Trump has made clear that he wants strings attached to the military aid that we give to Ukraine. He says he wants Ukraine to give the United States billions of dollars worth of rare minerals. But the release of Fogel here is very much seen as a sort of sweetener effort by the Kremlin as Trump pushes for negotiations for an end to the war in Ukraine. Lindsay.
And it would certainly be fascinating to see who is released tomorrow. Selena Wang reporting from a very snowy White House. Thank you so much, Selena. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We now join ABC News Live, already in progress.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between